Hello, everyone. I hope you are all doing great and had a wonderful weekend. Welcome to 7338 Week 2. This comes directly from Engage, so you should be able to do many of these different things after doing the readings and completing the discussion boards and things like that this week, so take a look at some of that. This week, you are reading chapters 3 and chapter 14 from Modern Social Work Theory. You are reading pages 1 through 53 of the novel, Across 100 Mountains. And you have the journal article that is also available through Docutech. So you should have access to that. The PowerPoint that I'm going to be doing today has a little bit of that information in it. So make sure you read that journal article. There's also a video for you guys to watch that's linked in Engage. And I've also saved this video on the YouTube playlist, 7338 YouTube playlist. So if you go to the YouTube channel, then you should be able to see that under the 7338 playlist. So this week for the discussion, you are going to respond to the following. Discuss how the major dimension of problem assessment in social and cultural context helps in understanding Juana's situation from a critical social work perspective. What might you have done differently in Juana's situation and why? So you're using the textbooks and the readings that you've learned and applying it to the situation in the novel. And then in your responses to your peers, compare and contrast your peers' discussion of the problem assessment in social and cultural contexts. And then where do you agree and where do you disagree? Is there a different perspective that maybe you have as well? So make sure you look at that for this week's discussion board. So this information comes from the journal article that you were supposed to have read for this week. And so it talks a lot about three major dimensions of culturally competent practice: the knowledge that you gain, both formally and informally. So the knowledge that you gain formally in like a class setting, and also informally, we also call this kind of practice wisdom. So things that you learn kind of informally in the field or volunteering or doing your internship. I also like to call it kind of practice wisdom that you learn. There's also the skills component, the skills dimension. This is done through assessments and interventions. And then lifelong commitment and development. So this is the both personal and professional dimension of kind of lifelong learning. Again, both on a personal basis and then as a professional as well. You should already know about the three levels of ecological systems perspectives: micro, meso, and macro. A lot of times we talk about micro and macro quite a bit, and meso is also another one that's in there that's kind of smaller groups, families. Also can be interactions between different micro systems. So this again comes straight from the reading. So if you're looking at this from a ecological systems perspective, right, you've got the individual right here kind of in the micro system, and then you have their meso system right here, and then the macro system that kind of is larger around them. And then you have lots of these different theoretical frameworks that you can apply to these various systems. So theoretical framework 1, I think here it talks about oppression and social justice. Theoretical framework 2, you could use acculturation and adjustment. Social stratification of ethnicity and power, ethnic diversity, diversity within populations, feminist theory. You could use a lot of different theoretical frameworks. when you're talking about looking at someone's ecosystem. So specifically looking and working with Latinos, there's 4 dimensions that this article talks about with culturally and socially competent practice. So the first and foremost that it talks about is increasing service availability and accessibility, problem assessment in social and cultural context. So before we're doing any type of intervention, we need to understand we need to assess for what are problems, select culturally and socially acceptable interventions. So a lot of times we apply culturally and socially unacceptable interventions in terms of like that is not going to be what's best practices for working with the Latino population. And then increasing service accountability. And the practice levels that it talks about is a generalist social worker and then also specialized social work practice. And then there's several general concerns for U.S. Latinos. I think you probably all know lots of immigration, acculturation, and adaptation concerns. There's the major breakdown of ethnic and extended family systems that we see a lot when working with Latinos. We see ethnic identity issues and multiple dimensions within Latino populations. So we also have lots of other dimensions that we look at in terms of sex, gender, age, ability, religion, things like that that are of concern as well. So that's just a little bit about this week and what you're going to be learning about. So please, as always, feel free to shoot me an email and let me know if you have any questions at all. And I would be happy to help. I hope you guys have a great week. Thank you so much.